That white stuff you're seeing blanketing the slopes around Beijing during the Winter Olympics is not, as the old saying goes, pure as the driven snow. Snowboarders and skiers are competing on 100% man-made snow. In past Olympics, man-made snow served to just augment the natural snow that we got. But with warmer temperatures rising worldwide, this could be the wave of the future. But that may not be good, and not just for skiers. Mathias Vuille has dedicated his career studying climate change and the impacts on mountain environments. He's a professor of atmospheric and environmental science, at the University of Albany, and he joins us live now. Thanks for joining us today. So, first of all, what is the process like to make man-made snow to blanket a mountain? I mean, I've heard of that in the ski towns up in the mountains, kind of a general process, I guess.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You basically need two things to make artificial snow. You need a lot of water and you need a lot of energy, and that's where some of the sustainability concerns come in. Where do we get all that water from? How do we produce the energy? But basically, you pump a lot of water up the mountain, the slopes where you need the snow. You mix that water with compressed air, and it creates this mist that is spewing out. And if the air is cold enough, it immediately creates snow. So you basically release that through these devices. We call them snow guns or snow cannons.
Got it. So I used to report in Idaho, and this was a huge story at the start of every winter for those ski resort towns, because everyone would freak out if there wasn't enough snow by a certain time, and then they would use these man-made snow machines, you know, to kind of augment, like I said earlier, the supply there. So how concerning to you is it that man-made snow is all the snow used in competition and not just a complement to it?
Well, for me, it's a big concern because it's a symptom of a bigger problem, right? And the problem is that our planet's warming up. We're having less and less natural snow. The snow season starts later or it ends earlier because of all the greenhouse gases that we're releasing. So in that sense, it's definitely a concern because it shows that our environment is changing.
Walk us through some of the reasons that snow has been declining worldwide. I mean, you did mention the warmer temperatures. Is there any other reason that we're looking at?
No, that's really the main fundamental reasons behind it, that we're releasing such a large quantity of greenhouse gases and we're changing our climate. So many locations at lower elevations that in the past saw snowfall, we now see mostly rain. And of course, ski resorts and these big events, they need to have a reliable snow cover on the ground, so that's why we're switching to artificial snow.
So what then does this mean for venues, you know, to host in the future? I mean, there was a recent survey by the University of Waterloo that said most of the previous hosts that we've had would not be able to host the Winter Games in just 30 years. That's not that far from now. Right.
So I think in the short term we'll still be okay, but in the long run, you know, the International Olympic Committee needs to take a hard look at this and really factor in climate change when they decide where to hold the Olympics. So it's definitely a cause for concern in the long run.
Yeah, and seeing those brown patches or even grassy patches while I'm watching the Olympics has been very, very odd. But thank you so much, Mathias Vuille, Professor of Atmospheric and Environment Sciences at the University of Albany. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and all of your insight.
Thanks for having me.